hey, I see y'all talking about, your own personal stuff, but what about somebody crazy like me that would come behind you that just totally hates cops and would just like nothing more than just take off all your heads while you was looking the other direction?
Park denizen Daniel Rockwitz admits his plan was to distract the cops.
A year after this documentary about an alleged cult was released, Daniel Racklewitz will be arrested for killing 26-year-old Monica Burrow, dismembering her body, and serving her remains as a stew with crackers to the homeless. Born on December 24, 1960 in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, he grew up in Victoria, Texas with his two brothers and widower father who was a police officer. He was known as the neighborhood weird kid and was frequently bullied. An anonymous source who knew the family described Daniel as a mental basket case who had an extremely bad temper. From the time that he was a young child, he had a delusional relationship with religion. He would declare himself Jesus and the Antichrist regularly and would be in and out of mental hospitals until he was 14 years old. His father didn't understand mental illness and was unable to get help for his son. The last straw for his father was when he found marijuana in Daniel's room. And in an act of tough love, he turned his son into the police, where Daniel was charged with possession. Despite his mental illness, Daniel was able to join the army after leaving jail at the age of 18. He will later receive expert certification in marksmanship, and he was honorably discharged 2 years later. Upon returning home, he tried to join the police force, but was rejected. Daniel tried to lead a normal life, and he got married, but the marriage quickly ended due to Daniel's increasingly bizarre behavior. To Daniel, it seemed like nothing was going right after leaving the military, so he decided to make a new life in New York City. In New York, he worked as a dishwasher but never kept steady employment. He also sold pot and smoked it openly. To everyone that met him, Daniel had an outgoing personality and easily made friends with the homeless people in the Lower East Side. He also regularly cooked for his homeless friends and would sometimes spend the entire day with them. People would see him carrying a rooster with him wherever he went, and he would go on random rants to anyone that would listen that he had divine powers. While he appeared to be a harmless eccentric, some recognized the evil within. A resident in Daniel's neighborhood who was interviewed by the Village Voice claimed, "The man had charisma. It took people a couple minutes to realize he was a kook, but he always managed to get them to stop and listen to him. Most people didn't think of the guy as really being a nut. I used to talk to people about him and they'd go, oh, he's harmless. I used to tell them, someday he's going to kill somebody. I swear I did." The same resident also claimed that Daniel collected pets and would kill them regularly. And if anyone really paid attention to Daniel Racklewitz, they would know what he truly believed in. For one, he was obsessed with Mein Kampf and thought that there were occult secrets inside. A neighbor that lived across the hall from him said, he had a whole theory on how he was the Antichrist and why he was into satanic devil worship. Anytime someone doubted him, he would tell them he was born on December 24th, 1960, and then by adding some secret code that only he knew, the letters of his name would add to 666. That never answered their question. While Daniel was busy being the neighborhood weirdo, Monica Burrow came to New York from Switzerland in 1989 to study dance at the Martha Graham Center for Contemporary Dance. It was her second attempt to make it big in the Big Apple. Her first attempt was cut short when she had to return home to take care of her sick mother. Martha was hoping that this time she would be able to make a living off her passion. But the harsh reality of New York City came crashing down when she couldn't find work in the dance world, and so she worked part-time as a topless go-go dancer at a nightclub. Monica was described as friendly and somewhat naive. Her open-hearted nature may be the reason why she befriended 27-year-old Daniel Racklewitz. On August 3, 1989, Monica met Daniel and the pair smoked marijuana together on a park bench. There, they discussed their mutual interest in the occult. Daniel and Monica's friendship developed quickly, and only after a couple of weeks, a desperate Monica moved in with Daniel despite his strange behavior. While Monica only wanted a roof over her head and reasonable rent, Daniel was convinced that he and Monica were lovers. But their relationship was only in his mind. And much to Daniel's displeasure, Monica slept with different men in their apartment. Another problem arose when the lease for the apartment was up. The apartment originally was leased to a couple that Daniel lived with, but they broke up. Because Daniel didn't have a job or income, he couldn't sign the lease, but Monica could. Friends of Monica reported that she was afraid of Daniel and wanted him to leave, so 2 weeks later, she asked him to move out. She told friends that he had threatened to kill her before, but for whatever reason, she didn't seem to believe it. On August 19, 1989, Monica and Daniel started arguing, and in a fit of rage, Daniel punched Monica so hard that it collapsed her trachea, causing her to suffocate to death. Not satisfied with her death, he stabbed Monica's corpse over 30 times. Once Daniel was done, he dragged Monica's body to the bathroom and dismembered her. He took chunks of her body and put them in a stew pot. For dinner, he cooked her brains and made a stew using some of her body parts. Once the stew was done, he took the pot to Tompkins Square Park and served the human stew with crackers to the homeless. While serving his gruesome meal, Daniel told his friends that he killed his girlfriend and cut her up, but since he rambled nonsense so often, no one believed him. After serving Monica for dinner, Daniel's life went on as normal. However, Monica's disappearance didn't go unnoticed. A few days later, one of her friends went to her apartment. The friend got the key from the building superintendent and she walked inside. She stepped into the kitchen and there she saw Monica's skinless head in a pot on the stove. And like a horror movie protagonist, Monica's friend didn't leave immediately. Instead, she slowly made her way to the bathroom and found the bathtub filled with blood and body parts. Monica's friend ran out of the apartment, but shockingly, she didn't report what she saw to the police. And she wasn't the only one. An unidentified male witness said that he walked into the house and Daniel pulled the head out of the pot to show it off. And again, another witness didn't go to the police. Since Daniel wasn't in a rush, it took him nearly a week to get rid of the body. He boiled the body to detach the flesh from bone, and he flushed the organs down the toilet. He then scrubbed the apartment from top to bottom to get rid of the evidence. An investigation into Monica's whereabouts wouldn't occur until September 8th, when the apartment superintendent called the police after hearing rumors that Daniel murdered Monica. The police were able to find the two witnesses, and when they asked Monica's friend why she didn't go to the police, she replied it was because she didn't want to get involved. On September 18, 1989, Daniel Rakowitz was arrested and charged with the murder of Monica Burrell. During the interrogation, he immediately confessed and told the police the location of Monica's remains, which were stored inside of a locker at the Port Authority bus terminal. What was left of Monica was stuffed inside of a 5-gallon bucket, including her skull and the murder weapon, a 15-inch carving knife. He also filled the bucket with kitty litter, which was used to hide the smell. The news of the murder became a national sensation, and someone even wrote on Daniel's apartment door, "Is it soup yet?" The case sparked fears of Satanists during the height of the Satanic Panic. For those who don't know, the Satanic Panic was a moral panic throughout the 80s and the 90s that consisted of thousands of unsubstantiated claims of satanic ritual abuse. Because Daniel confirmed his belief in the occult and declared himself to be Christ and the Antichrist, investigators began to speculate that Daniel wasn't alone, but belonged to a murderous satanic cult. In an interview with New York Post, Daniel said, "I say that I'm the new Lord, and I will take leadership of the satanic cultists to make sure they do everything that has to be done to destroy all those people who disagree with my church." The police told the media that they believed that the murder was committed for some sort of cult ritual. Daniel accused two men that he knew from his neighborhood, Patrick Geoffris and Randy Easterday, as being accomplices in the murder and being members of his cult. Both men were hounded by the police, and Randy was even arrested 2 years later. But the district attorney determined that the evidence on Randy wasn't enough to determine that he'd actually been involved. In January 1991, Daniel went on trial, and despite his lawyer's disapproval, he took to the witness stand. His testimony was rambling, and one psychologist said that Daniel was a paranoid schizophrenic that faked sanity. At some point, Daniel testified that he wanted to take the bones to the set of the TV show America's Most Wanted to help find the killer. After a 7-week trial and 8 days of deliberation, Daniel Rakowitz was found innocent by reason of insanity on 2 counts of murder on February 22, 1991. He was found innocent of intentional murder and acquitted by reason of mental disease on account of murder by depraved indifference. A third charge of tampering with evidence was thrown out. The verdict was controversial, and jurors later revealed that there were 2 holdouts. The majority of the jury wanted to give a guilty verdict. However, 2 jury members were insistent that he wasn't. One of the holdouts was even accused of saying that he didn't want to decide too soon because he was unemployed and making $15 a day. Since the other jury members didn't want a mistrial, they decided to go along with the verdict of not guilty due to insanity. Daniel Rakowitz was sent to a maximum security psychiatric center. In 2005, Daniel petitioned to be released and claimed that he was no longer a danger to society. After reviewing Daniel's records, the judge said that Daniel still posed a physical threat to himself and others and denied the request. As of the making of this video, he remains institutionalized. Hey guys, thank you for watching the Twin Files. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also comment, any little bit helps.